Hey, everybody. Welcome back to 12 Days of PODMAS of Built Like This podcast. I'm your host, Maxine, and we're on PODMAS episode 1, 2024. All right. So let's get into these topics. The main topic. Hello? Jay-Z did it. Jay-Z did it. I believe. And here's the thing, even if he didn't do it, he did it. What I mean by that is, I think he has such a colorful past. And by colorful, I mean negative. By colorful, I mean he has been in some mess that has just tainted his appearance. And because the media likes to play tricks on us, likes to propagandize us, we are quick to forget. We're quick to only see things in the present time rather than the whole picture. And that is what I'm basing my conclusion on. Now, what has been alleged against Jay-Z? There are maybe some people are saying there are some inconsistencies in the claim. And for those who may not know, who was maybe under a rock the past couple of days, but a woman who is now in her adult years, I think she's in her early to mid 30s, but back when she was a 13-year-old, back in 2000, in the year 2000, she claims that Jay-Z and Diddy violated her, if you know what I mean. Violated her, took something from her that was not consensual, if you get my drift. And this violation took place at an after party from the VMAs. Mind you, she's 13 years old. She is at this adult party by herself. There are other people present. There are many adults present, but she is clearly an underage child. She's a child. And what comes to mind when I think about this case is, where were her parents? How did this young girl get so far into this space that she is at this adult party with these celebrities? That's the first thing that I think about. But then I have to remind myself that there are many children out here who grew up in dysfunctional, toxic households. There are children out here who have broken homes, who don't have parents who care to see their child protected at all costs, who may not be available, who may not be active and present parents. So I think these things are what I had to remind myself of, to realize, oh, she's probably not safe, right? She's probably didn't come from a safe environment. That's the first thing that comes to mind. Finally, after I think to myself and realize, oh, a lot of people come from broken homes, and I'm not saying I'm not, you know, familiar with that dynamic, but again, where were her parents is still what comes to my head. But I have to give some grace here, because there are plenty of toxic, dysfunctional, plenty of dysfunctional parents out here. Anyway, so that's one. Two, she just by herself had the courage to just be so ambitious and go to the VMAs without a ticket, without any access. And she practically begs several limo drivers if she could gain access to wherever they are going for the next step after the VMAs. She finally comes across one of the limo drivers who happens to work for Diddy. And this limo driver says, mind you, we need to know who this limo driver is. Who was this guy? For him to say, oh, you're what Diddy is looking for, you're his type, I feel like he should be held liable too, because you are, it's a RICO, right? It's a RICO charge here. Anyway, he sees her. Obviously, he smells the desperation from her. He realizes that she really wants to be at this party. Ooh. So let me take advantage of that. Let me speak to her desire and her temptation and her desperation here. So he says verbatim, according to the claim, he says that she fits what Diddy was like, you fit what Diddy was looking for. Okay, so something about her physique, her frame, her appearance, despite her being underage, despite her being 13 years old, despite her looking like a child, something about her appearance is fitting for Diddy, according to this limo driver. This is all according to what is being said in this claim. Now, you may think, how can a 13-year-old look appealing to grown men? Here's another realization that we all must have to embrace, because there are young girls who do their best to appear older. And I know we don't like to use that as an excuse, and we're quick to say, "Oh, well, that nigga's still a part." Yes, that still could be true. Don't get me wrong. But there are a lot of men who say, "I didn't know she was underage. She looked grown. Her body looks grown," right? You have a lot of young girls who are fully developed because of the steroids in the chicken, because of the processed food. I say all that to say there are a lot of young girls who are underage who appear older. And so this 13-year-old girl may have appeared older than she was at the time. And another thing to keep in mind, let me just another breakdown, y'all, because what isn't, a lot of us say, oh, well, she's not of age, right? She's 13. She's under, like, if you're in a relationship with someone who's under 18, then that's illegal, yada, yada, yada. But hello? New Jersey's age of consent, y'all, is 16 years of age. Yeah. People don't know that. I didn't know that until recently, honestly. Okay? Um Age of consent, 16 years of age in New Jersey. 16 years. If you're looking at my screen right now, you are seeing the reference that I am making with this, okay? 16 years of age, New Jersey. Let's talk about New York. New York is just 17 years of age. Okay. So when you have songs like Age Ain't Nothing But a Number by Aaliyah, that is the mindset of many young girls at the time, and even now, probably, because a lot of these states don't have the legal limitations of I can't be with this person because she's not 18 yet. No. And honestly, the states, let's see. What are the states legal consent age of 18? When I check this out, y'all, it's literally just 12 states. 12 states in US of A that has the consent age of 18. Those states are Arizona, California, Delaware, Florida, right? Idaho, Kentucky, North Dakota, Oregon, Tennessee, Utah, Virginia, and Wisconsin. Huh? So that means states like Georgia, Texas, Massachusetts, like there are more states that have the age of consent less than 18 than there are of states that have the age of consent of 18 and above. So I'm saying this to say you have this young girl who was definitely even below the age of consent in New York. Obviously, she was 13 according to this claim. But you have her maybe appearing, maybe she looked 16, maybe she looked 17. And I want to point out how Aaliyah looked when she filmed that video, Ain't J Nothing But a Number. Let's see, how old was Aaliyah in 1994 when this song came out? Aaliyah was, see, okay, 15. Yeah, she was 15. On the cover of this album, she was a mere 15 years old. Look how she's dressed. Does she look 15? Look how R. Kelly's looking at her. She's a wife right now, right? At this point in her life, she was a wife to this man, to this grown man who was, how old was R. Kelly when he married her? Age of R. Kelly when he married Aaliyah. He was 27. I knew it. Yeah, 27. So the point is, you have these people, right? These young girls who, though they weren't the age of consent, they damn well looked like it. And depending on the state that they had these relationships in, they were legal. They were of age. Now, in this case, and even some cases where, okay, the child is 15, they definitely, what is it? Their parents would sign them off. Their parents will pimp them out. Essentially they will pimp them out. Okay, so again, I'm showing you these pictures of Aaliyah when she was young, when she was underage. But again, underage does not mean the same everywhere as it does in some states. If you're not in the states of those 12 states that I mentioned, Utah, I'm surprised with Utah, considering how Utah has has a history of marrying underage girls with men of the Mormon faith. So that's interesting to me. But nonetheless, you have, you know, people are in these relationships with these young women, and we think the idea of, well, they're it's underage, it's, it's predatory, it's all these things, but age ain't nothing but a number. And you have 15-year-olds dressed like this, presenting this image that they're grown, their parents signing them off and trusting that they are grown. So I'm pointing this out to say there's a history of this. There's a history of children marrying young, being wed at a young age, having babies while being babies. It honestly wasn't until recent years, relatively, in which that notion of living was frowned upon. So again, to paint the picture of what we're talking about here, I think people like, an R. Kelly, a Jay-Z, a Diddy, and the list goes on, they come from this mindset of, this is what's okay, this is what's normal, this is what's approved because of historical data. Child, I mean, we could go on and on about that part, but the point is, you have this 13-year-old girl going to this grown-ass party. Her parents were not around, and she was able to live this life in which she's doing whatever she wants to do. Child. Yeah, so the first thing I thought of was, where are her parents? Why? Anyway, nonetheless, she's at this party. She makes it in. She returns to that meeting point that the limo driver requested her to be at. They ride for about 20 minutes. She's a young girl riding in this random guy's car by herself, because nowhere in the claim does it state that he that she came with a friend, that she was with her girls or something, something like that. But no, it was by her bold ass self. And that's where the term of fast comes from. These fast girls, and not to shoot at her, I'm not saying that, but again, you have no business going to these adult feng shuis, these adult parties. Sorry, I feel like I'm having more energy for the girl than I am for the adults. And I'm not trying to imbalance it that way. I'm just trying to paint the picture here that there are a lot of things to consider in this situation. Nonetheless, a predator is a predator is a predator is a predator. Anyway, and no means no. So regardless, whoever's down or looks like they're, for the fun, is not okay. Anyway, so she makes it in. She arrives at the party, but before she enters, she has to sign an NDA, which is strange because you would think that her being underage, that the NDA wouldn't hold any water. And that's legally true. Your NDA does not hold any water. It doesn't hold any weight if you are underage or if you're under, I mean, whatever the fucking legal age is at that time. So her being 13, she was under the consent age. Anyway, but she signed it and entered the party. And maybe she signed it. Maybe they forced her to sign it because they thought she was of age. I don't buy it. But nonetheless, she signed a document and she believed that it was a non-disclosure agreement. When she got in, she was presented with a drink. The drink made her feel woozy, lightheaded, and felt like she needed to lie down. Now another thing with this part here. So considering that she is this girl who decided to be ambitious and go out on her own and be very adamant about going to an after party for the VMAs and not taking no for an answer, I find it interesting that she got woozy, lightheaded, and felt like she needed to lie down. Because if I could bet on this, I'm assuming that she has had a drink before, right? I'm assuming that she has dabbled in some alcohol. But in this case here, maybe this alcohol, from what we're seeing here or what's being indicated, this alcohol was roofied. So that could explain further. So what I'm saying is it wasn't just a light drink, it was a drink that was drugged. So shortly afterward, she felt woozy, lightheaded, like she says, and she wanted to lie down. She enters a separate room, and Holmes and Sean Carter entered the room, and Diddy says, "You're ready to party." Now, okay. I can't get the Diddy sound bite here, but nonetheless, he says this according to her. Then they proceed to basically run a train on her. That's basically what I'm seeing here. It was one at a time, essentially. After one finished, the other one got in, and according to her, an unnamed female celebrity was present and she watched. Now, a lot of people are saying it's J-Lo. I do think it could be her. But again, this is my opinion. Who knows? We'll probably get the scoop of this in a few days, because 2024 is not ending until we get some more spice. It's been a damn year. I mean, Cat Williams really set it off for us. But nonetheless, anyway, so she is unfortunately violated, and at the point of her being forced to perform oral sex on Diddy, she, according to this claim, hits him in the neck, and that made him stop. She then grabbed her clothes and left. So she left the place undressed. She had a towel around her, apparently. And as she was leaving, I guess she was able to put her clothes on, but she left the house unclothed. She found her way to a gas station where she called her father, and that's pretty much about it. Now, it doesn't really state exactly what happens then. Does the father meet her where she is? Does the father tell her, does a father force her to go, to, what is it? To tell me where you were. I'm going there right now, and all these things. I don't know, but it just makes me feel like, damn, this dad ain't shit. Because what do you mean he picked you up and y'all left? Like what? What kind of fuck? I don't know. I hate men who aren't men. I really do. I hate men who can't really, and this is when it's time to put on that whole quote unquote toxic masculinity hat on. That's why I hate this whole idea of tearing down the man, the black man at that. But anyway, we're gonna go on a whole different episode for that. So this came out, and immediately, I want to say like 30 minutes. 30 minutes. Jay-Z. Jay-Z. No, I should say Rock Nation. Let's get into that. Rock Nation decided to release an aggressive ass response. Okay? An aggressive response. Let me go ahead and pull that up. And it is still on their page. You would think by now. What's interesting is I don't follow Rock Nation, but I just find it so weird that they have, like, was it 9 new posts since that release of their response? Like, how is Christina Aguilera like the second new post from you releasing that response? Like, this is so, I just feel like they were trying to hide it in a way or not make it as visible, but since it's still on their channel, on their page, people could see it. Okay, let's take a listen or watch. If you're, again, make sure you are liking. Do me a favor, like this video on YouTube. If you are watching on YouTube, go ahead and like the video. If you are listening to me on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, be sure to leave a positive review. If you are enjoying this content, tell a friend to tell a friend, share it with a coworker. Okay, word of mouth is everything. Share it with a coworker, share it with your cousin. Just share it. Post it on your social media. I really would appreciate that. That is your way of supporting me. Let's get back into it, okay? So as you can see on my screen, we see here their aggressive ass response. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's unnecessary, but I do want to point out a few things in this response. First of all, he immediately gets into, I implore you to file a criminal complaint. File a criminal complaint. Now, what I find interesting about this is, obviously, technically, unless something else comes up that's within the last 5 years, this criminal complaint of this case from 2000 is null and void. Statute of limitations is real, so him pointing this out gives the impression of him trying to point out, oh, this person is not legitimate. She's just out for the money. And for a heinous crime like this, wouldn't you want to seek wouldn't you want to seek justice on a criminal note? Okay, of course, but as we know, victims of assault, they don't immediately come forward and seek justice. It takes time to even realize what happened to you was an act of violation. People like to, just reframe their mindset, or even put themselves in a state of delusion because of the trauma they endured. So let's not be so obtuse here and say, well, why didn't you file early? Why didn't she? It's been 20. Okay, sure. Maybe she did take too long, but we can't dictate how someone decides to move forward in their life. She probably thought to herself, look, I'm just going to act like this never happened and I'll be fine. But according to what the lawyer, Tony Busby, says here, she has been suffering from trauma from this act. And that is not far-fetched. That is not hard to believe. A lot of people still reference, not even everyone, I would say everyone still reference moments from their childhood that they still haven't, quote unquote, gotten over. People don't just get over things just because, oh, it's been 5 years, it's been 10 years, it's been 20 years. No. Some people do, some people eventually move on, and it's not a conversation that's consistent. But the point is, people still remember heinous acts that have been done to them. So it's not easy to say, why didn't you just say something? No, people like to just forget like it never happened, but eventually your body catches up with you. Your body tells you, whoa, this was a violation. My consent was taken from me. And that's why I can't trust people like I used to or like I want to. That's why I haven't held a healthy relationship in years. That's why I have these panic attacks. Like the list goes on. So please, let's have some sympathy for those who take a quote unquote long time to speak up. Because again, when you speak up, what happens? Oftentimes, people are met with resistance. People are met with, you're a liar, you just out for the money. So when Jay-Z, even though it's not quote unquote signed by Jay-Z, even though this is not on Jay-Z's Instagram profile, we know who runs Rock Nation. Okay. And as we continue to read through this response here, we know that the person who's speaking is Jay-Z, because he references different points that lets us know this is Jay-Z. So it says here, I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Would you not agree? So again, him trying to frame her and this lawyer's pursuits here as a way of blackmail, as a way of getting money, as a money grab. And I think at the very least, if I can't complain criminally, if I can't file a suit criminally, the very least you could do is pay me for my suffering. You could pay me for my suffering. And I don't think that should paint someone as a a liar or someone to be untrustworthy in any case. Let's move on. So according to what some people say, and from this response here, Mr. Busby, again, he's the lawyer of the Jane Doe. He has a history of being just being a cheap lawyer, in a sense of he would be an ambulance chaser, meaning he would seek out just cheap ways to get a quick buck time and time again. And maybe he'll twist the truth, maybe he'll just be at the right place at the right time to win a case, and he's always present for that. I mean, look, people gotta eat. So am I mad at that? Not really. But two things could be true. Sure, he may be an ambulance chaser type of lawyer, and he may very well be legitimate in this case right here. So let's keep it a buck. Okay, so it says here, my only heartbreak is for my family. Jay-Z, shut the fuck up. Shut your camel ass up, Jay-Z. Shut your camel ass up. He says, my wife and I will have to sit our children down, one of whom is at the age where her friends will surely, really? Jay-Z, you say Shirley? Will surely see the press and ask questions about the nature of these claims and explain the cruelty and greed of people. First of all, let's talk about you, Jay-Z, and the cruelty of who you are. Let's do some backtrack on J mother effing Z. Who's this man right here? Who's this man right here? A criminal. A criminal. A criminal. That's who he is. Okay? Jay-Z was a dope dealer for many years in the projects of Brooklyn. And miss me with the whole I had no choice. That's how I had to get up out the hood. You could have gotten a job at McDonald's. Cut it out. Cut it out. And look, I get the whole pressure. Yes, if your neighborhood is infiltrated with gangs and you don't want to look like a sucker, I guess there's a lot of pressure. I don't know. Yada 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 yada. But still, there's a lot of people who made it out the hood and did not sell dope. So cut that shit out. Okay? You have terrorized and killed and embedded addiction in the communities of Black people. So that's a heartbreak for your daughter to realize. That's a heartbreak for Blue to be like, Dad, you was a dope dealer? What's it like? Let's cut it out. You are not this honorable man who was just such, just a good guy. He's a good guy. You're not this good guy. Okay? So there's that. Like, Jay-Z, who is this? Who is this? You're a dope head, not in that sense, but you know what I mean. Like, let's cut that out. Cut that out. You're not this like this honorable guy, man of God type of nigga. No, you so dope. Okay, and what else? Didn't he allegedly Jay-Z Big L case? Didn't he kill Big L? Or he was okay, not necessarily kill him, but there's some speculation that he had an involvement with the death of Big L. And that's primarily because Jay-Z likes to cancel out any threat, okay? Any threat to his rise. And Big L was apparently a underground hip hop rapper sensation that he was. So Jay-Z took what can I type in? You know when you're talking so damn fast and you can't type at the same time, and I'm trying to talk to y'all. Let's see. I'm trying to see what I could find on it real quick. But nonetheless, y'all know the story, okay? I didn't live through this. I was still young, so I don't know necessarily the backstory. But Big L was supposed to sign to Rockefeller, and he just coincidentally left us. So all in all, Jay-Z does not have a past that is free of mischief. Okay, he does not have a past that is free from mischief. He is not an innocent man. Okay, he's not a good man, Savannah. And then he's known to have stabbed his former business partner. I mean, the list goes on. He was a shitty ass friend to Dame Dash. Like, I mean, the list goes on. Okay, so I'm bringing all that up to say, this moment in time is not the only time in which Blue is going to ask her dad, "Hey, Dad, what's happening here?" And then let's talk about his affiliation, his close relationship with R. Kelly. R. Kelly, who is in prison now for heinous acts. So let's cut it out. Okay. All right. So there's that for this situation here. And ultimately, what I just want to point out here is there's a lot of things to consider. There's a lot of chains being torn down, but these chains are embedded in our history. You have, again, a culture that encourage young women to engage in young girls to engage in relationship with older men. That was of the norm. We only have 12 states in the US of A that has the legal consent age being 18. This is just a historical thing. We have religious groups in which they encourage young girls And these religious groups are more so considered cults. But nonetheless, you have these young girls starting families at a young age. So, you have the rape culture, you have the religious aspect of it all, you have the legality of it all. So, the consent of the legal consent is different in every state. And I think that's all the things that needs to be unpacked when it comes to a situation like this. I still think Jay-Z is a crappy guy. I really do. And I just, it's unfortunate that quote unquote all of our black moguls are being targeted. And I get that argument, but I also we have to call a spade a spade. Like, we have to just realize, regardless of the impact that Jay-Z has had on the black community, what he eats does not make us shit. Like, these black men out here who like they rub their dick. They stroke their dick from Jay-Z, on Jay-Z, on Reasonable Doubt. Like, Jay-Z is their daddy. And it's quite embarrassing. It's quite embarrassing. When I watch, I don't want to name the podcast. I feel like the tone that I'm having right now sounds aggressive. And I love this podcast that I'm kind of referring to right now. If you guys could, I've talked about this podcast many a times, but I don't want to mention their name in this instance because I don't want to shoot at them, because I really do love the podcast. But you have grown men in their 40s, in their late 30s, who will just rub one out for Jay-Z because Hova, and not on some like homosexual stuff. That's, kind of move on from that. The point is, a lot of men they adore, they worship Jay-Z. And what I am excited about right now, and throughout this year of 2024, we are seeing the crumbling of Hollywood, just the takedown of celebrity worship. We are moving away from that. And I find that to be such an exciting time to be alive. What a time to be alive. Okay. But yeah, so throughout this response here that Jay-Z sent through Rock Nation, not once did he say directly, I did not do it, I deny these allegations. And even if he did say it, I feel like it wouldn't hold any weight, because who else said the same thing just a few months ago? Diddy. And he's in the cell. Okay. He had the nerve to release a enough is enough type post. Not even type post, a post such as that, just for his ass to have his next meal given to him at a prison cell. Okay. So he ends off with, well, before I end it off, he says here, I'm a young man who, Jay-Z, you're 55. And I don't want to be ageist here. I really don't. But come on. But again, I don't know. A lot of these Hollywood people, they thrive off of immortality. They would do rituals and just practices to secure the immortality, and then they soon find out that was a lie. If you know, you know. Anyway, it ends off with, I look forward to showing you just how different I am. Okay. Because that sounds like a threat, and I find that to be strange. Anyway, so today we see that, and we're going to wrap up in a second because this is supposed to be a mini series. As we know, if you are an OG listener, you know what PODMAS is. It's just your bite-size episode for 12 days, starting at the date of December 12th. So we're going to wrap up in a moment. I'm just like super hype right now. But anyway, we see Beyonce, Blue, Mama Tina, and Jay-Z at the Mufasa premiere, supporting their baby girl, because wow, she is on Front Street, and what I find to be so interesting about this is the timing of it all. This is fresh off, not even fresh off. We're still riding the high off of them just being a part of something, well, Jay-Z directly being a part of something so heinous. This allegation is still fresh. It literally was just released. And we see this nigga cheesing it up with his wife next to their daughter. And it's like, okay. But again, they come from not old, quote unquote, but like they come from a time in Hollywood in which you act like everything's good. You put a smile on your face and you get on stage. Ain't no fucking sick day. You fall, you get right back up. You're good. You're having a good day. So, I don't know. That's interesting. Tina Knowles claims that she got hacked after everyone spotted that she liked a Jay-Z post that shows that. There we go. Let me show y'all right now. Again, make sure you are watching this on the YouTube. When I click something, I just want to be stupid. Okay, reject all. Oh, jeez Louise. Okay, so this post here, which was breaking news by ABC 7 Chicago, we see that it was liked by Miss Tina Knowles. And this post tells us that Jay-Z, Diddy named in lawsuit alleging this situation here. But was of course, Miss Tina Knowles decided to say, I was hacked. Like, girl, you were hacked conveniently to like this post. And she's done this before. Like, how many times is your phone hacked? I know you're an older woman, but girl, you should have an assistant by now. Anyway, a lot of people are saying that this is her way of showing us that she is on the side of maybe Beyonce possibly leaving Jay-Z, and these are the crumbs that will follow or that will precede prior to that happening. We'll see. Y'all, I'm tuned in. I'm tuned in. And typically whenever I deliver these episodes, I like to change the topic every episode, but we may have a continuation of this topic next episode or in later episodes. We'll see. But I'm gonna go ahead and end it right here. Thank you so much for listening. I'm sorry I'm not showing myself on video here, but we good. My picture's cute. Hello. Hello again. Do me a favor, make sure you are liking this video. You have already liked it, and you better be subscribed. At this point, we're fighting. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much, and I will check in with y'all tomorrow for PODMAS, the next episode of PODMAS. All right, goodbye.